Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachano Ramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. There is something to be said for having in-person classes, I think. It's good to see you all back here. So in this class we study the Bhagavad Gita. We have been doing it online, and believe me, I've got endless grumbling and complaints from people who were following this online. They wanted to stay online, or at least hybrid. But I thought we should go back to the in-person class. And hybrid, I am not comfortable entirely with that, because I find the attention, at least the attention of the speaker, gets sort of divided. But anyway, this is being recorded, so at least the audio recording will be uploaded. We study the Bhagavad Gita in this class, and we were on chapter 9. Chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita. We know the Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. One way of structuring our understanding of the Bhagavad Gita is that you can divide it into 3 groups of 6 chapters each. Chapters 1 to 6, then from 7 to 12, and then from 13 to 18. What would be the basis of this? One way of understanding this is, in Advaita Vedanta, the ultimate teaching, the point of it all is tattvamasi, you are that. There's an ultimate reality, we are that, and the point is to realize that. So that is the ultimate reality, you are the individual, and the identity of the two. So one way of understanding this would be that the first 6 chapters are about our real nature, who we are. Who am I, that investigation, the Atman, the self, the real self. The second group of 6 chapters is about that, God, the reality of this universe, the power behind this cosmos. Brahman, so literally the word Brahman means the vast. And then the last 6 chapters from 13 to 18 would be the identity of the two. In what sense are we individual sentient beings and God, the power behind this universe, in what sense are we identical? And you know, that's the whole subject matter of Vedanta. One of the greatest non-dualists, Madhusudan Saraswati, who lived about 500 years ago, he's the one who did this division, or at least he is one of the main proponents of this way of looking at the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita, the essential teaching is you are that, tattvamasi, and which is not a surprise, because he is a non-dualist, and the non-dualist would always say that you are that ultimate reality. And he also says that the 18 chapters should be understood in this way. Broadly speaking, first 6 chapters about who am I. The next 6 chapters are about God, by which I mean the God of religion, God whom we believe in, worship, have faith in. And the last 6 chapters deal with, broadly again, the identity between the two. And of course, anybody who's read the Bhagavad Gita knows that this picture, even if it is true, is a broad picture. I mean, in each of these chapters, there's lots of other things. In the first 6 chapters, there are a lot of things besides who am I. In the next 6 chapters, in which we are now, the 9th chapter, there are a lot of things besides God. And so too, in the final 6 chapters, there's a lot, and not just the identity of Jiva and Brahman, the sentient beings and the ultimate reality, but still, big picture, it's a nice way, interesting way of looking at the Bhagavad Gita. Madhusudan Saraswati is a big name in Advaita Vedanta, non-dual Vedanta, one of the greatest of post-Shankara Advaitins. Shankaracharya, who lived about 1400 years ago, so about 900, 1000 years after him comes Madhusudan Saraswati. And he is the one who wrote probably the toughest book the book full of the most intricate, and somebody said a brain fryer of a book, Advaita Siddhi, the establishment of non-duality. Basically, he was responding to attacks on Advaita Vedanta, non-dual Vedanta, by dualists, by other schools of Vedanta. I'll tell you a story about him, which is pertinent to what we are going to study today, and then we'll go into it. So it goes like this. It's a cautionary tale about Advaita Vedanta. I always plug non-dual Vedanta a lot, so it also goes with buyer beware. What's the Latin phrase for it? There is the buyer beware. Caveat emptor, yes. So with non-dual Vedanta, very powerful, but also very dangerous. Why? One reason of the many warnings, one warning is contained in this story. So Madhusudan Saraswati it's a story I've heard it from monks in Uttarakhand. So Madhusudan Saraswati was writing his magnum opus, the Advaita Siddhi, the establishment of non-duality, refuting the refutations of non-duality, so counter-attacking the attacks on non-duality, and engaged in this tremendous exercise, logical exercise. So one day he's sitting and writing, and then this wandering monk comes up to him. He is dusty and wearing only a loincloth, and comes and sits in front of Madhusudan Saraswati without an invitation. Madhusudan Saraswati is a little annoyed, of course, taken, who is this drifter? Americans would call him a bum. So who is this guy? That monk looks at Madhusudan Saraswati and he says, well, Master Madhusudan Saraswati, you know that you are Brahman. He says, yes, that's what I'm teaching. I am existence consciousness bliss. And you are refuting those who don't understand this. Yes, that's what the book is about. But suppose somebody comes and refutes all your arguments. It could happen. Somebody more intelligent than you, more well-versed in the Vedanta than you, comes and refutes all your arguments. Would you be unhappy? And Madhusudan Saraswati said, honestly, yes, a little. I would feel it. I would feel the pinch of losing a debate. And suppose you manage to defeat this challenger. Would you be happy? And Madhusudan Saraswati said, yeah, I would feel happy. A certain glow of victory. Then fie on your knowledge of Brahman. Madhusudan Saraswati, your knowledge of Brahman is not complete yet. Your realization is not complete. Well, what should I do? Says Madhusudan Saraswati. This monk says, you should go into retreat and repeat the name of Krishna. Repeat the Krishna mantra, repeat it. And this many number of times, which is thousands and thousands. And there's a particular Krishna mantra which, anyway, that's beside the point. So then Madhusudan Saraswati goes into retreat and repeats the mantra and says, you have to do it until you get the vision of Krishna. So he does it over days and weeks and months, all day long, till late into the evening and so on, thousands and thousands of times. And nothing happens. He doesn't get any vision of Krishna. So he's feeling disappointed and he's thinking, I am a non-dualist. And the sadhu put it very nicely in Hindi. Main to tha advaiti, kis chakkar mein phas gaya? I am a non-dualist. What is this trap I've fallen into? Krishna and repeating a Krishna mantra. And why did I even listen to that guy? So this is a problem with non-dualists, The problem is, they can't do spiritual practice. The moment you start doing some spiritual practice, the first thing which happens is, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult to focus. It's difficult to hold on to something. And if you're a non-dualist, an Advaitin, the first thing that will come to your mind is, why am I doing all this? After all, I know that I am Brahman. What am I going to gain? I'm not going to get anything more than what I already am. So I also know these practices are an appearance. They're part of Maya. They're false. And what I will get If I don't have something and I get something by these practices, that also will be part of Maya. That will also be an appearance. And the reality is Brahman, and I am that Brahman already. So why am I doing all this? That's why non-dualists are not particularly good at spiritual practice. Warning, caution. It happens. A non-dualist will start maybe a little bit of a puja and then say, what am I doing? Why? Or maybe starts trying to do pranayama and meditation, focus the mind. It's very difficult. The mind is restless. But why? The focused mind and the non-focused mind both are Brahman anyway. The one consciousness in which the mind is unfocused and another same consciousness the mind is focused. Oh, give it up. What's the point of it anyway? In any case, I'm Brahman. Trap. Deadly trap. Luckily, Madhusudan Saraswati, he had a helper. The same monk turns up. It's a longer story than this, but I'm going to shorten it. I'm adapting it. I'm sure the story has been adapted and readapted and telling and retelling over the centuries. So the monk, the same wandering monk turns up again. How is it going, Master Madhusudan Saraswati? So not good at all. I was thinking, I'm doing it, but I'm not getting any result. And then this monk said, do it once more. And then Madhusudan Saraswati does it once more, and he gets the vision of Krishna. And then he goes back and completes Advaita Siddhi, but he also writes this beautiful book on the devotion to God, Bhakti Rasayanam. This is one of the, it's interesting. I remember a few years back, we were studying Madhusudan Saraswati's commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. This was at the Harvard Divinity School. And one issue of scholarly debate was, why would a non-dualist like Madhusudan Saraswati write books on bhakti? And why so much references to bhakti in the Gita, commentary on the Bhagavad Gita? So the story connects this, That's why he had a vision of God, of Krishna, and then he wrote the Bhakti Rasayanam. And then he wrote the commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. It's the most comprehensive commentary on Bhagavad Gita and has, of course, he's a non-dualist, so it is thoroughly non-dualist, but plenty of references to Krishna, plenty of references to devotion, plenty of references to meditation and practice of meditation. The Yoga Sutras are very much present there in that commentary. In that commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, Madhusudan Saraswati says that if the yogis want to meditate upon pure consciousness and remain immersed in the radiance in their hearts, let them do so. But what I want, what my eyes want, is a vision of that little blue boy playing on the bank of the Yamuna. Krishna, the baby Krishna, he means. So that kind of devotion was there. Anyway, so Madhusudan Saraswati, he wrote a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. Cautionary tale about spiritual practice. Why did I say that? Because the portion of the 9th chapter which we were doing, being in the second 6 chapters, chapters 7 to 12, it's about God. Being about God, it's about devotion and devotional practices. So the devotional practices are being mentioned here. Why you need to do devotional practices and what are those devotional practices? What kind of practitioner does one have to be? All these things are mentioned there. So we have done this, but it's worth recapitulating. From 11th verse onwards, chapter 9, verse number 11 onwards, we have done 11, 12, and we have touched upon 13 in the last, but there's been a long gap in between. So I'm going to quickly recapitulate those. What's the subject? God, belief in God, faith in God, devotion, devotional practices. The practitioner and the practices. That's the subject. 11th verse. Those who have got the Gita, you can repeat after me. Avajananti mam mudha, avajananti mam mudha, manushim tanumashritam, manushim tanumashritam, param bhavam ajananto, param bhavam ajananto, mama bhuta maheshwaram, mama bhuta maheshwaram. The ignorant, this is translation, the ignorant deride me who have taken a human form, not knowing my higher nature as the great Lord of beings. What's he saying here? The ignorant who do not know who I am. So they think I am this person, Krishna. just this guy, your driver driving the chariot of Arjuna. They do not see me as avatar, incarnation of God, that I am actually God incarnated. They don't know me. Not knowing me, they deride me. They think that he's just this person. Why should we learn anything? He's just like us. Those who do not know me in reality, some of them might like me, some of them might dislike me. Those who like me, they think he's a nice guy. He's Krishna. He's a nice person. Those who dislike me, they hate me. They do not know who I am in reality. Who am I in reality? Bhuta Maheshwara. Maheshwara, Lord, God, the Lord of the universe. Of Bhuta. Bhuta, there are two meanings of this. One meaning is all sentient beings. We are called Bhuta. The Lord of all living beings, all sentient beings. Swami Vivekananda said, the sum total of all souls, this is the only God that I know and worship. So the Lord of all living beings. Another meaning of Bhuta is the five elements out of which this universe is created. Bhuta Maheshwaram is the Lord of the material universe. So two things, sentient beings and this insentient universe. In Sanskrit, Jada and Chetana. This insentient universe, this physical universe which we inhabit, and beings like us, all sentient beings. Above them all is God. So this is the triangle in any religion, any theistic religion. God, world and sentient beings. In Sanskrit, Ishvara, Jagat, Jiva. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, a triangle. Sentient beings like us, the physical universe, and a God. You might say, not so fast, Swami. We exist, we know. And the physical universe is there, we know. We can see it. We can experience it. But the God, I'm not so sure of. That's right. So the God of religion is something that we believe, we take on faith, at least to begin with. We start with faith. So this is Bhuta Maheshwaram. Upanishad, the Taittiriya Upanishad says, Tasmad va etasmad atmana akasha sambhuta. From this Atman, this Satchidananda, space emerges. Akashad vayu, from space comes air. Vayor agni, from air comes fire. Agner apaha, from fire comes water. Adbhya prithvi, from water comes this earth. So the ancient cosmology of the five elements, they are called bhuta. Space, akasha. Air, vayu. Agni, fire. Apaha or jala is water. And prithvi is earth. The five principal elements out of which this entire physical universe is supposed to have been made. So it all comes from God, from the Atman or Brahman. I am the Lord of this universe. But they don't know me. Ajananto, they do not knowing me. People of this world, they do not know me. Notice, not knowing is ajnana, ignorance. See, this is Vedanta hidden here also, this underneath the surface. It's as if we are talking about God, but underneath, we do not know the reality. That is ajananta, not knowing. And then what is the result? Mura, deluded, foolish. In Vedantic terms, the terms would be ajnana and adhyasa. Not knowing the rope, that is ignorance of the rope. But imagining the rope to be a snake, mistaking the rope to be a snake. Not even imagining. Nobody's deliberately imagining the rope to be a snake. You know the classic rope snake example. Nobody's deliberately trying to think of the rope as a snake. We don't know the rope. We automatically make a mistake. We think it's the snake. Similarly, we don't know the ultimate reality. We think it's the world. So here, it's there in this verse also. Ajananta, not knowing my real nature. And then the result is muraha, deluded. And what do? Avajananti. There is a word in Sanskrit, many Indian languages. Avagya, disregard me. They look down upon me, or they do not see the glory of God in the incarnation. Because manushim tanum ashritam, because I am with a human form. So because I am with a human form, all other human beings think he's a man like us, a human being like us. Not having faith in God, what happens? The next verse. We have all done all this, I'm rushing through it a little bit. 12th verse. Moghasha mogha karmano, moghasha mogha karmano, mogha jnana vicetasa, mogha jnana vichetasa rakshasim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha of vain hopes, of vain efforts, of vain knowledge, thoughtless and taking to the deceptive and demoniac and fiendish nature, they deride me. All right, a harsh verse. What happens to such people? Mogha asha, they have vain hopes. Why vain hopes? People who are not spiritual are, by definition, by default, worldly. So, for worldly people, the hope is in the world. What's going to fulfill me? Money, relationships, power, Facebook popularity, something in the world, this world or virtual world, that's going to make me happy. And I have evidence for that also, because it does make me happy once in a while. Little bit at least it does make me happy. And the whole world is rushing towards that. If you examine it, then the real thing comes out, that how long does it make us happy? Whom has it made completely, deeply happy? One person. Nobody, ever. And yet, everybody is rushing towards that. Whatever you want in this world, the hopes are that something in this world will make us happy. And therefore, mogha karmana, vain are their efforts. All the tremendous effort put into education, learning, earning money, relationships. They do not give lasting peace, lasting fulfillment. Are they totally useless? No, not totally useless. They're like what Sri Ramakrishna used to call one and zeros. So all that people chase in this world are like zeros. But if you line up a series of zeros one after another, you still get zero. But if you have a 1, then every zero adds value to it. So 1 0 is 10, 2 zeros are 100, and 3 zeros are 1,000, and so on. And 1 is spirituality. In this case, Krishna would say the 1 is God. This was straightforward. But you can define it in whichever way you understand spirituality. It could be self-knowledge also, enlightenment also. But the 1 must be there. If you have the 1, then all the others they add to the glory of the 1. There's nothing wrong in being rich or having relationships or education and learning and politics and art. Nothing wrong in it. They have their place in the world. But as far as we are concerned, because we want something, we want fulfillment, we want to overcome suffering, we want our lives to count for something. In that case, the 1 is central, and then all of that is useful. But otherwise, without that 1, mogha karmana. Of course, in this context, what Krishna is referring to was the ancient Vedic context, where karma had a special meaning. The karma there meant the Vedic karma. So what people took as conventional religion in those days was a vast system of ritualistic religion, the fire sacrifice. And they were elaborate fire sacrifices, yajna, with priests and paraphernalia and mantras to be chanted and vows to be taken. What was the point? You get things which you want in this world. You might want wealth, you might want health, you might want a kingdom. Kings wanted to conquer other kings. All of that you can get in this world, and much more besides. In the worlds to come after death, you go to heaven. And Krishna says here, all of that, Arjuna, which you know as religion, which you and your forefathers have practiced, mogha karmana, vain is your effort. Why? Is he saying that heaven doesn't exist, or these fire sacrifices don't work? No, he's not saying that. What he's saying is, what you're trying to achieve by those ways will never work. Whatever you get in this world will one day perish and go away and leave you unfulfilled. I saw this cartoon. The problem with trying to add years to our life is, when you are really, really old, all those years have come to an end. That's somebody saying. The problem with trying to add years to your life is, think about it. When you're 90 or 100, And you look back, all those years are gone now. So it all comes to an end. It's okay, but as long as I've had those, not necessarily. If it have all come to an end and I don't have anything to show for it at the end except an old, diseased, broken, suffering body, fading memory, and being sort of forgotten and discarded by the world, not a good way to end. Not a good way to end. Is there an alternative? There is. There is. That's the whole point of spiritual life. In whichever religion, that's the alternative. So the higher spirituality is the alternative. Mogha karmana. Well, what about heaven? I can go to heaven after that. That's something to look forward to. But those heavens also come to an end. Krishna will say later on, whatever you get by your fire sacrifices and all, you will go to heaven. I'm not denying the truth of religion, but that's also strictly temporary. And when it comes to an end, it comes to an end. It's all gone. So mogha karmana, vain is their effort. Mogha jnana, vain is their knowledge. Worldly knowledge, even spiritual knowledge. That's why I brought in the Madhusudan Saraswati example. This is a peculiar danger of non-dual Vedanta, which is a knowledge system. So the idea there is our problem is ignorance and the solution is knowledge. You are limitless consciousness, pure being. All you need to do is just know it. That's all. That sounds pretty fast, pretty effortless. It is effortless. That sounds pretty fast. Yes, it is instantaneous and effortless. Who would not want ultimate spirituality to be instantaneous and effortless? In contrast, they talk about years and years of spiritual practice and a lot of hard work. In contrast to that, just realize that you're Brahman. Just see it. Vivekananda himself says, do not seek, just see. That sounds great. Krishna warns, mogha jnana, vain is such knowledge. Vain is such knowledge. One danger I pointed out, that spiritual practice, this knowledge itself, this kind of an understanding, if you don't like this kind of Vedantic teaching, you're safe. If you're skeptical, if you like it, you're in danger. Because there is this danger of undercutting spiritual practice, the motivation for spiritual practice. If I truly, truly believe there is God and the vision of God is my goal, I am just this person and here is this wonderful mantra given to me by Guru and I will practice this mantra thousands and thousands of times, day and night. I am motivated. But if I also believe, yes, but that's on the level of appearance, like a movie or a dream. The reality is I am pure consciousness. Then when it comes, the time comes to practice those thousands and thousands of repetitions of mantra, what happens is this kind of knowledge, this kind of understanding of non-duality, it snaps the nerve of effort. So that sadhu said, Advaitiyon se sadhana nahi hota hai. These non-dualists, they are no good at spiritual practice. Because the moment you start spiritual practice, it's difficult and then you want to give it up. Yeah. And there is always this temptation of giving it up because I'm Brahman anyway. Why do I need to do spiritual practice? Does Brahman, does infinite consciousness need to do meditation and repeat a mantra? What nonsense. So he says, be careful, mogha jnana. Then what do you do? Then what good is that knowledge? It's good for giving YouTube talks and classes and lectures. Yes. There is the idea in India, there's a thing, bharavahi, that the idea of a donkey which bears sandalwood. So the donkey takes sandalwood from point A to point B and delivers it, and it's heavy. And all the donkey feels of the sandalwood is that it's heavy. It doesn't get the fragrance of sandalwood. And it is compared to those who know a lot, but they don't use that knowledge. And it's not referring to Advaita Vedanta. It just refers to any kind of knowledge which is just information. Vivekananda said, information running riot in their brains. Undigested or half-digested knowledge, which doesn't do any good, either to yourself or anybody else. What good does it do? You can teach it to others. You can give lectures to others. And that's as bad as that donkey. Or you get something out of it. You see them all over New York. Have you seen? They go on bikes and zoom around and deliver stuff, food and they'll arrive at your place and give you your packet of the food that you take out you've ordered, and they come on, they zip along on bikes, and they're dangerous. They can hit you. And what do they get out of it? Leave a tip for so and so delivered. How was the delivery? You'll see on your mobile phone, and he gets a tip, $1 or $2. That's what the guy gets. And that's the only good of such knowledge. So the Vedanta knowledge, if it becomes that, how sad it is. It's meant to liberate you from the sufferings of this world. It's meant to give you fulfillment and realize our true nature. If all you get is a tip, you gave a nice lecture, or you read a few books, and that's not a very good outcome. So mogha jnana, he says, vain is such knowledge. And why are they like this? Because of their rakshasa nature, asura nature. So 3 kinds of nature Krishna will talk about later. It's going to come up a few chapters later. Daiva, the divine nature or godly nature. The rakshasa, demoniac nature. The 2 kinds, rakshasas and asura, both are, the common word for them would be demons, but the asuras are tamasic and the rakshasas are rajasic. So there are 2 kinds of problems, these 2 kinds of natures. One is the asura nature. The commentator, this is a commentary by Sridhar Swami, who lived even before Madhusudan Saraswati, so 700 years ago. He has a very simple, nice commentary in Sanskrit on the Gita. Some of you are craning your eye and look at this. Oh, so that's the one to read. No. I'm just using this today. You'll be disappointed if you think that this is the book to be read. There are, any book will do, with the original text and the translation. Here, Sridhar Swami says, Tamasim himsadi prachuram asurim. So violence and sloth and dullness, that's asura, the nature. Or rakshasa, rajasim kamadarpadi bahulam, desire and arrogance, and that's another kind of nature. Both of these natures don't allow you to be spiritual. They keep us engaged in what? In worldliness. What's wrong with worldliness? Vain are the hopes, vain are the actions, vain is the knowledge there. In contrast, so this is all we had done till last time. In contrast, who are the spiritual seekers, spiritual practitioners, and what do they do? 13th verse. Mahatmanastu mam partha, Mahatmanastu mam partha, Daivim prakritim ashritaha, Daivim prakritim ashritaha, Bhajantyananya manaso, Bhajantyananya manaso, Gyatva bhutadim avyayam, Gyatva bhutadim avyayam. But the great souled ones, Mahatma, the great souled ones, spiritual seekers, they have the divine nature, Daivim Prakriti. And what is this divine nature? That will all be talked about later on. So, O Arjuna, O Partha, or O Arjuna, they worship me, such people worship me with one-pointed devotion, knowing me to be the cause of all beings and immutable. So, who is a Mahatma? You say, oh, Mahatma Gandhi. Yes, but Mahatma literally means, Mahan means the vast. Atma, the self. We are all the vast self, but because we tie ourselves down to little things, a little body, one little person, one little personality, we are not Mahatma then. The Mahatma is the one who realizes, I am the vast, I am one with all, or all are one with me, who sees the self in all beings, who sees all beings in the self, who feels a deep oneness with everybody and everything. That's the philosophical level. And the practical level, the Mahatma is in contrast to the rest who are only concerned about themselves. I and mine. The Mahatma is somebody who is on your side. He is in your gang. Is always on your side. He's a well-wisher for everybody. Not just a well-wisher, not just theoretically, but up and doing, trying to help everybody everywhere. So this is a Mahatma. And such Mahatmas, they have this divine nature. What do they know? Three things he has said. What do they know? What's their understanding, realization? What are their minds like? And what do they do? So, knowledge, in their minds, thought, their efforts, and their practices. What do they practice? So he says, they know gyatva bhutadim abhyayam. They know me to be the source, the Lord, the source of this universe. The definition of God in all religions. What's the common definition of God in all religions? The creator of this universe. So that's how God is defined in any religion whatsoever. Bhutadim abhyayam, the original source of all bhutas, all sentient beings. In Vedanta, this phrase used is abhinna nimitta upadana karana, which is a heavy Sanskrit word, but what it means is, when you say creator of the universe, the creator can be used in two senses. One is like a potter creates pots. The potter is not the pot. The material of the pot is clay, which the potter fashions into a pot. So is God some extra cosmic being who makes this universe? That's one idea of creation, of God creating this universe. Another idea is, no. It is God, and the material of this universe is also God. So God is the creator, like the potter, but unlike the potter, the material of the universe, what is this universe made of? That's also God. There's nothing other than God. So God is the creator, and God fashions this universe out of God. So God is transformed into this universe. And the example used is that of a spider. In the Mundaka Upanishad, it is said, just as a spider spins a web out of itself, so does the imperishable spin this universe out of itself. Mundaka Upanishad, yathornanabhi srijate grinhate cha yatha prithivyam oshadhayas sambhavanti yatha satah purushat keshalomani tatha aksharat sambhavati havishwam. Just as from a spider a web is spun, the spider spins a web out of itself. So a spider spins a web out of itself. What would you mean? Notice there are two aspects to it. Spider is a sentient being, and the body of the spider out of which the web is spun. So the spider is not only the creator of the web, but the web is also nothing other than the spider's own body. Similarly, in Vedanta, Brahman, God, that consciousness, is the creator of this universe, a sentient being, an intelligence behind this universe. At the same time, what is this universe made of? What does God make this universe out of? Out of Maya. Just like the spider has its own body, spins a web out of its own body, Ishvara, Bhagavan, spins this universe out of Ishvara's Maya, the power of Ishvara. That's why it's called Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana. In the one indivisible, intelligent and material cause of this universe. Intelligent cause, like the spider creating the web. Material cause, like the spider's body producing the web out of itself. So it's a lot of hard work. The little spider, it spins a web with a lot of hard work. So is that what God does? Works really hard? No. The next example is, just as herbs and trees and plants emerge from the earth, yatha prithivyam oshadhaya sambhavanti. Effortlessly, the earth is not working hard to produce plants and herbs and shrubs. So effortlessly. Oh, so the earth is an insentient thing, non-living, material thing. So is God like that, some kind of a material force, Big Bang or something like that? That's what you mean? No. Then the next example is, as hair and nails grow from a living human body. Another example to show how hair and the nails are not living anymore, but they are being produced by a living body. Just like that, from consciousness appears this non-conscious universe. From one appears the many. From limitless bliss appears this whirling mass of pleasure and pain. So this is a very beautiful mantra in the Mundaka Upanishad. Yathornanabhe srijate grinhate cha, as the spider spins out and then retracts the web. Yatha prithivyam oshadhaya sambhavanti, as herbs emerge from the vast earth. Yatha satah purushat keshalomani, as from a human body, living human body, emerges hair and nails. In that way, tathaksharat sambhavati vishvam. In that way, from the imperishable. So no name of a God is given there. Akshara means the imperishable. From the imperishable appears this universe. Notice I'm saying, using different words. Emerges, transformed, appears. And there's this little thing, you will read closely. So God produces this universe. Is God transformed into this universe? He says, avyayam, unchanging. Vast, changing universe. Production is change. Existence is continuously changing. And destruction of the universe is also change. And then he says God is unchanging. In that case, this entire universe can only be an appearance in God. The seed of the Jagat Mithya, the falsity of the world compared to Brahman, that seed of the idea is here. This is what the Mahatma knows. He knows this. And then, what does he do? Bhajanti ananya manaso. Worships ananya with unwavering focus. See, here's the difference between a spiritual seeker and a worldly person. It's not that people are not interested in religion. Once in a while somebody goes to a temple or a church. Once in a while somebody listens to Christmas carols or bhajans and kirtans. That does not make that person a spiritual seeker. Ananya, unwavering focus, a lifelong search for God. And that's just not just that I proclaim, Facebook status, spiritual seeker. No. What am I doing day to day? Is my life tuned to this search? So, Ananya. How does one do this? Bhajanti, that means they worship me. This worship, it comes from bhakti, love, devotion. Jnana without bhakti, this knowledge, I am Brahman, seeking this ultimate realization, without devotion, can be very deceptive. If that devotion, that pull, that love for God is not coming, there's something wrong with our jnana practices. And the other way around also is dangerous. Devotion, love, bhakti, without jnana can often be mere sentimentalism. We were just reading today, Swami Ranganathanandaji was the 13th president of our order. He joined the order he was initiated by Swami Shivananda, the disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. And as a young monk, so today in the morning we were reading reminiscences of Swami Ranganathanandaji and his reminiscences of Swami Shivananda. So as a young monk, he writes to Swami Shivananda saying that, we read about Sri Ramakrishna, he wept for God, and try as I might, tears naturally do not come to me. And Swami Shivananda wrote back to him, there's no need of that. Devotion, true devotion is not sentimentality. You don't have to weep. You don't have to have tears in your eyes. That kind of outward show is not true devotion. Then what is true devotion? Patterning your life on the teachings of God. Practicing it in your daily life and trying to live well. Live a pure life. Live a life of prayer, meditation, service. Doing that is real love of God. Not just crying for God. One can cry. One can be emotional and can be very worldly also. But actually transforming your life. So bhakti. But that sweetness must be there in knowledge. In Sanskrit, the word for that is rasa. Rasa. Rasa literally means syrup. Sweet. Gravy, the syrup. That sweetness must be there along with knowledge. Here I must mention this very nice lecture I heard I am hearing online by the philosopher Arindam Chakravarti, who was given a talk here. He was here a few years back. So he gave a talk recently in the Institute of Culture in Kolkata, Gol Park. And that talk was on the Bhagavatam and Swami Vivekananda's teachings on love. So Bhagavatam is the great epic which talks about the incarnations of Vishnu and especially about Krishna. It's devotional, but also full of spiritual knowledge. It's devotional knowledge, everything is there. So the point I'm making here is, he made a very nice observation, the philosopher, Arindam Chakravarti. He said, when we study Vedanta, there are these three foundations of Vedanta. Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya. Shruti means the revelation, Upanishads. The knowledge, the teaching of the of Vedanta, it is based on the Upanishads. That's called Shruti. That's Shruti because it's part of the Vedas. So that's the foundation. Second, Smriti. This Bhagavad Gita is called Smriti. Smriti is that which gives us the practical advice on what you do actually. How do you do spiritual practice? The theory, the central teaching, the insight is given by the Upanishad. The knowledge is given by the Upanishad. How do you realize it? How do you go about it in your life? Smriti. So Bhagavad Gita is the Smriti. And then there's another text, Nyaya, the logical side of it, the rational side of it, the philosophical side of it. The text is called Brahma Sutra. Brahma Sutra. So Vedanta, this is common knowledge. When we study Vedanta, you have to study three things. The core of Vedanta is the Upanishads, which is called Shruti, revelation. The practical side of it is called Smriti, Bhagavad Gita, this one. And the logical, philosophical side of it, why do we need philosophy? Somebody said very nicely, life makes philosophers of all of us. So the philosophical side of it, Brahma Sutras. Alright, this everybody knows. This is called Shruti Prasthana, Nyaya Prasthana, Smriti Prasthana, Nyaya Prasthana. Prasthana means foundation. Triple foundation of Vedanta. Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya. Revelation, practical side, logic or philosophy. Now, so this is common knowledge. But this philosopher, Arindam Chakravarti, for the first time, he said, I am adding one more prasthana, one more foundation to Vedanta. He says, from now on, we should regard the Bhagavatam as the rasa prasthana, as the sweet side of Vedanta, the syrup side of Vedanta. You have the insight from the Upanishads, you have practical advice from Krishna in the Gita, you have the logic in the Brahma Sutras, and you have the syrup, the sweet, the candy of the Upanishads, of Vedanta in Bhagavatam. Rasa prasthana. So it's now four prasthanas, four foundations, not triple, but quadruple foundation. Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya, and Rasa prasthana. So I like that. But the point here is, there must be devotion along with knowledge. So what do they do? We will do this next time, but let's just read this. What are the practices? The 13th verse was, who are these seekers? They are the Mahatmas. And what are the practices that they do? 14th one, we'll talk about this later, but just we'll read it today. Satataṃ kīrtayanto mam, satataṃ kīrtayanto mam, yatantaśca dṛḍhavratāḥ, yatantaśca dṛḍhavratāḥ, namasyantaśca mam bhaktyā, namasyantaśca mam bhaktyā, nityayuktā upāsate, nityayuktā upāsate. Always praising me, striving with austere vows, and bowing down to me with devotion, always steadfast, they worship me. What do they do? These spiritual seekers, upāsate, they worship me. When? Morning, once in a while, in the church, in the temple. Nityayuktā, constantly connected to me. How? Mechanically? Somehow I have to get it done. No, bhaktyā, with devotion, with love, with inner feeling. And what do? Satataṃ kīrtayanto. They are always praising me, singing my names, chanting about me, talking about me. That's one. That's what they do. Internally, what's their attitude? Yatantaśca dṛḍhavratāḥ. with firmness, with resolute vows. They are trying, they're working. They're not like, well, I'm Brahman, let's let it go. Like Madhusudan Saraswati, I'm a non-dualist. What's all this Krishna mantra I was doing? Oh, by the way, that reminds me. This Sunday, we have Professor Bryant coming to give a talk. He was here once years ago. If you look up our YouTube channel, one of the most popular talks on the channel is by Professor Bryant. He's of course a world authority on the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. His book is probably the best book on the Patanjali Yoga Sutras in the market today. So Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. He gave a talk on that, and the talk also, he's a very good teacher also. So it became a very popular talk, you can see that. But there's another side to him. He is a devotee. He's a Krishna Bhakta. He is a devotee of God, especially he is a devotee of Krishna. And his topic this time is very interesting. I don't know why he has chosen the topic. Is God real? Or is God unreal? That's the topic. Is God unreal? Is Bhagavan unreal? I don't know, because maybe he thinks it's the Vedanta society and we think God is unreal or something. We don't. We don't, right? Anyway, so I'm sure he's going to mount a defense. So do come, 11 o'clock on Sunday. Do register, of course. Are we doing registration? Yes. Okay, so it's open. Bhaktyā, with devotion. And they are yatanta, they are trying. They are making efforts. Immediately follows it up by namasyantaśca, and they're constantly bowing down and surrendering to God. Notice this beautiful synthesis of free will and surrender. Making efforts, obviously free will. Up and doing. Getting up early in the morning, sitting for meditation, studying the scriptures, chanting, puja, repeating mantras, serving people, and bowing down and constantly surrendering. What are they doing? Constantly making efforts and constantly surrendering. What a beautiful combination. So we will see this next time. I'll just tell you one thing. The satataṃ kīrtayanto, just in case I forget. Continuously engaged in kirtana. One meaning is singing the names of God. So our brothers in the Hare Krishna, in the ISKCON, the Bhakti Center, they do the kirtana. That's what the meaning of kirtana. That's the meaning of kirtana in Bengal. That comes from Bengal Vaishnavism. But the word kirtana has other meanings in other parts of India. So one is talking about God or praising God, or or chanting or doing japa also is another way of engaging. So basically, engaging a faculty of speech towards God, whether it is singing or repeating a mantra or chanting or talking about God. Satataṃ, continuously. Why I'm saying this is I'm reminded of a monk I met about 16 years ago. He has passed since. He was one of the most wonderful monks I've ever seen in my life. And one of the many good qualities in him was, anytime you go to him, he'll speak about God. So he says, why? He says that his guru told him, the moment people come to you, before they can start talking, you start talking about God. Because otherwise, they're going to start talking about the world. All the observations about the world, they will have money problems, they have neighbor problems, husband problems, wife, girlfriend problems, children problems, grandchildren problems, they have political problems, they have social media problems. All of that they're going to dump on you. So before they do that, don't give them an opportunity. Don't give them an opportunity. Start talking about God. And I saw that monk used to always do that. So satataṃ, continuously. Don't be a bore, but be careful not to talk too much about the world. What we dwell on, that will enter into our minds. Another meaning of this satataṃ, just in case I forget, I'll tell you this. I remember in the Himalayas, once I was living in this little cottage, and across the river there was this monk. I used to study the Ashtavakra Gita with him. So one day, in the Ashtavakra Gita, which is radically non-dual, one day, the verse which we were studying had the word nirantara. Nirantara, antara means break, gap. Nirantara, without break, without gap. And the monk who was teaching us, this old Swami, I still remember, you can imagine, sitting there, towering mountains, glaciers, and the river below flowing very fast, torrentially. He said, you know, monks, he said, Mahatma ji, I was thinking, when you'll all come for this class, how will I explain Nirantara without a break? Then I thought, here it is in front of me. Mother Ganga is showing me how it is flowing without a break, torrentially, continuously flowing. Like that, let your thoughts of God, of course he's talking about the Atman, you're dwelling in your real nature, let it be without a break. Let your sadhana be without a break, like that, the continuous flow of the river. Now what happened was, late that night, I was sitting down for meditation. Not to my credit, because there's nothing else to do. There's absolutely nothing else to do. You can't study, there's no electricity, and there's nobody to talk to. There are no phones, in those days at least. And it's pitch dark outside, and cold. So you get into your room as soon as possible, as the sun sets, and then you stay there until the sun rises the next day. And you can't do anything else in that room. And you can't say, what about sleep? You can't sleep? You can't sleep also, because the climate is so bracing and nice and the food is minimal, so you're not at all hungry. You're not at all sleepy. You are, there's nothing else to do. You're a monk. You haven't been working all day long to earn money. Everything is taken care of. You're all alone by yourself. There's no sleep. You can't sleep. So what do? You sit and meditate. I was sitting and meditating. That night particularly, I remember, I haven't forgotten now, it was 16 years ago. It was unbroken. The japa would not stop, because every time it stopped, I immediately heard, just outside the cottage, the roar of the Ganga. Unbroken roar. And the japa would, by itself, unstoppably go on for hours and hours and hours into the late of the night. So that is satataṃ. Satataṃ means nirantara, without any break, without any gap. And it just goes to show it's not just something that, to encourage us, but it can happen. Unstoppably it can go on. Japa can go on. The repetition of the name, mantra can go on unstoppably. Meditation can go on unstoppably. Swami Turiyananda ji, he says that at one point, for several months, he had no sleep, 24 hours a day. He's studied in the morning and spent all night in samadhi, in meditation. Not just meditation, full samadhi. That's why they don't need sleep. We would go crazy if we didn't sleep at night. Don't try it. All right. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.